Hello. Please, just for a little while, let everything else fade into the background. I need you to truly listen to me, not with guarded ears, not with the defenses you had to build after I disappeared, but with the same open heart you once gave so freely. What I am about to say has lived inside me for years, heavy and suffocating. I have rehearsed these words in my mind more times than I can count. I have imagined this moment in silence, late at night, when the world was asleep and my regrets were loudest. I owe you the truth. I owe you more than silence. I owe you more than the emptiness I left behind. For years, I carried the weight of knowing that I vanished without explanation. No warning, no conversation, no closure. One day I was there, and the next, I was gone. You deserved better than that. You deserved someone who would sit across from you, look you in the eyes, and speak honestly, even if the truth was messy, even if it was painful. Instead, I chose silence. At the time, I convinced myself it was strength. I told myself I was making a sacrifice. I created a story in my head that walking away was noble, that disappearing was somehow protecting it. I clung to that belief because it was easier than facing what was really happening inside me. The truth is, I was afraid. Not afraid of you. Never you. I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of the chaos brewing inside my life. Everything felt unstable. My sense of direction was crumbling. I was drowning in confusion, insecurity, and fears I didn't even know how to name. I felt like a storm, unpredictable, destructive, lost in my own darkness. And when I looked at you, you were the opposite of that storm. You were light. You were steady. You were warmth in a season where I felt frozen. And instead of letting you be my shelter, I convinced myself that I was the danger. I thought if I stayed, I would pull you down into the mess I was becoming. I thought you deserved someone whole, someone confident, someone who wasn't secretly unraveling. I didn't want you to see the cracks forming in me. I didn't want you to witness the version of me that felt weak, uncertain, and broken. So I did what cowards often do when they feel exposed. I ran. I told myself I was sparing you future pain. I told myself that leaving early was kinder than staying and failing you later. I told myself that if I disappeared, you would eventually move on and find someone stronger, someone better. But what I failed to understand back then is that love is not about perfection. It's not about having it all together. It's about standing beside each other in the broken places. And by not giving you the choice to stand with me, I robbed you of something sacred. I robbed you of your agency. I robbed you of the truth. Silence is not protection. Silence is abandonment. And I abandoned you. That realization has followed me everywhere. In quiet rooms, in crowded spaces, in moments when something beautiful happened and I instinctively wanted to tell you about it. There were so many times I picked up my phone and stared at your name. So many times I typed out a message and deleted it. I imagined your reaction. Would you be angry? Would you ignore me? Would you tell me I had no right to return after disappearing like that? Sometimes I was terrified you would hate me. Other times, I was terrified you wouldn't. Because if you forgave me easily, it would mean I had put you through pain you didn't deserve, and yet you still opened your heart. I wasn't sure I was worthy of that kind of grace. The irony is painful. In trying to avoid hurting you, I hurt you in the worst possible way. I created confusion where there should have been clarity. I left you with questions that had no answers. I left you to wonder what you did wrong. And that is the part that weighs on me the most. If my disappearance ever made you question your worth, if it ever made you doubt yourself, if it ever made you think you weren't enough, please hear me now. You were never the problem. Not once. Not for a second. You were loving. You were patient. You were real with me in ways I had never experienced before. If anything, that level of closeness scared me. You saw parts of me no one else had seen. You recognized my potential even when I couldn't see it myself. And instead of rising to meet that love, I retreated from it. Because being loved that deeply requires courage, and I didn't have it. It took me years to understand that what I called protecting you was actually protecting my ego. I didn't want you to see me struggle. I didn't want to admit that I was lost. I didn't want to say, I'm not okay. So I chose the easier path in the short term, even though it caused long-term damage. I see that now. Time has a way of stripping away the lies we tell ourselves. It forces us to confront the truth when we can no longer outrun it. And the truth is simple. You deserved honesty, even if that honesty was messy, even if it meant admitting weakness. Love built on truth can survive storms. Love abandoned in silence cannot. I don't know what these years have been like for you. I don't know how my absence shaped your story. I don't know if you healed quickly or if it left scars that took time to close. I don't know if you still think about me or if I'm just a distant chapter now. But I have wondered. I have wondered whether you replayed our last conversations, searching for clues. I have wondered if you blamed yourself in quiet moments. I have wondered if you felt discarded. And if you did, I am deeply sorry. You were never disposable. You were never insignificant. What we had was rare. It was honest. It was alive. And I walked away from something precious because I didn't trust myself enough to nurture it. I cannot undo that. I cannot go back and rewrite the moment I chose silence. I cannot erase the confusion or the hurt. Words cannot repair everything. I understand that. But I can offer you what I should have offered from the beginning. The full truth. I left because I was drowning in my own fears. I felt unworthy. I felt unstable. I felt like I was failing in areas of my life that had nothing to do with you. And instead of letting you see that struggle, instead of allowing you to stand beside me, I isolated myself. I thought isolation was strength. It wasn't. It was fear. And fear cost us something beautiful. I am not writing this to demand forgiveness. I am not expecting us to return to what we once were. Life moves forward. People change. Time reshapes everything. I respect that. What I want, what I need, is for you to know the truth so that you are not carrying a version of the story that blames you. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were never the reason I left. I was. And accepting that has been humbling. If there is any grace left between us, I hope this confession offers you something valuable. Clarity. Maybe even peace. Maybe even closure. You deserved closure years ago. You deserved a conversation, not a disappearance. And though I am late, painfully late, I am here now with nothing but honesty. No excuses. No justifications. Just truth. I hope that wherever life has taken you, you have found stability. I hope you have found someone who meets you with consistency. I hope you have found a love that doesn't leave you guessing. I hope you have found peace within yourself that has nothing to do with me. And if, by some chance, you ever look back at what we had, I hope you can remember it without bitterness. I hope you can remember that it was real, even if I wasn't brave enough to sustain it. You once told me that love requires showing up fully. Back then, I didn't understand what that meant. Now I do. Showing up means staying when things get hard. It means speaking when silence feels easier. It means allowing yourself to be seen, even in your brokenness. I failed at that, but I am learning. And part of that growth is finally saying what should have been said. I am sorry, truly, not for loving you, but for leaving you without explanation, for disappearing instead of communicating, for allowing fear to dictate a decision that affected us both. I will carry the regret of that choice with me, not as punishment, but as a reminder of what fear can cost, a reminder of how precious honesty is, a reminder that love deserves courage. If these words bring you even a small sense of relief, then they were worth writing. If they help you release any lingering doubt about your worth, then they have served their purpose. You deserve the truth. You always did. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the love you once gave me so freely. And whatever the future holds, for you, for me, for us, in whatever form that may be, I hope it is filled with the peace and happiness you have always deserved. And if nothing else, let this be the closure I should have given you long ago.